We in the game.
Okay.
One, two, three. What's up, y'all? Man, this is Live in Peace. My boy Tito, you know, your boy DJ. We here trying to get it cracking. We've been talking about doing a podcast for a minute.
Yeah.
It's been like at least 2-3 times we said that. Like, let's do it today, and be so busy with work.
Yeah.
To me, bro, this is honestly therapeutic.
For sure.
So that's why I really like to get into it. It's not really a hassle for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I felt like today was the perfect time. We were on our Red Redwood. I'm like, man, let's try to get back early so we can get to it. This, y'all, is going to be about my boy, at least mostly. This dude is different. Y'all know my mentor, Eugene, is somebody that I'm so admirable of. This guy is close. And, you know what I mean? He doesn't have half the years on this earth as Gene does. I want to say personally thank you for how you've walked in the door and how you always walked since I first met you. My first remembrance of you, us working together, was when we did that bike thing with Ken, when you guys had the bike competition with the kids had to hit the wheelies and not try to touch the cone, you know what I mean? And I have a picture of me like working, and like I'm like standing up, and you're like right up under me getting pictures too. You know what I mean? I'm gonna send that to you. It was like super crazy, but yeah, man, thank you for all you've done and all that you've been doing. And like I say, I feel like it's just with a lot of people, and not necessarily in this work, but just in life, bro. I feel like you see people almost in a commercial style, like they have to try to do it. Mm-hmm. Like everything with you just seems fluid and natural, man. And it's you know, I'm gonna continue to tell you, it's easy to support that.
Right on.
My first experience with Chase Love was not too many weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You had a couple kids out there, a couple of our staff there too from Live in Peace. But just walking in as like as a visitor, as an audience member, was just like, this is an energy.
Right
on. I felt home, and it was my first time. Right there were people that I've never known before that gave me hugs and embraced me and welcomed me. Yeah. But I feel like that all starts with the leadership. You know what I mean? I feel like that all starts with the people at the top that's feeding into it. Mm-hmm. And I know that you are one of them. I know you won't take the credit for doing it yourself. I know it definitely takes a team. But I know that the leadership and the spirit of the leadership is kind of what makes the boat move. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, shout out to you, man, again. But yeah, I want to ask you, how did you get to this point where like this was it for you? 'Cause I feel like I said, I could look at you and see how you move that you're excited about waking up every day to do this work. Mm-hmm. What was your first introduction to that experience or feeling?
No, right on. Thank you. Honestly, just with everything that you said, I think the work that we do here is all like faith-based work. That's how I think about it. It's about like what is God's calling for me? What is He calling for us to be able to make an impact in? And I think that's like the cool thing about this work is you don't just clock in and you clock out, but it's like, whose life are we trying to change today? Who are we trying to, you know, empower? Who are we trying to, you know, not only just motivate, but let them know that they're not alone. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this work, man, is that we're able to make a genuine impact on the youth and just seeing them, you know, in their struggle, and the fact that they have that trust to be able to come to us, and we have to earn that, you know what I mean? And we do that by constantly showing up for them. And I think to me that's like the most beautiful part about the work that we're doing, is that we get to build these genuine relationships with the kids and be as vulnerable and honest as possible, because I think that's what makes it less transactional. You know, from what we talk about is like, you know, showing them who we are and being ourselves in our true light. Being able to talk about like the struggles that we went through allows the kids to go, all right, like, you know, he's human. He's more than just a, you know, a mentor who's just, you know, clocking in to, you know, to do their work, but he genuinely cares about me and my well-being. And I think that's what makes this work really cool, because we get to support them in their tough moments. So whenever, I love like those moments that we've shared before, where Sebas and Jorge and them come to us and they're like, Tito, I'm doing this, Tito, I'm doing this. Yeah. Or, yo, I got this job and like, yo, I'm graduating. Like, to them, it's a win that they are sharing with us. And for us, it's like, bro, like,
I'm happy to have a different conversation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm happy that the conversation isn't still. Cause I hate, and not to cut you off, but I feel like that's one thing about myself. I hate feeling like we're always giving bad news because I remember being their age and having my struggles. So it's just like, man, I can't wait to celebrate you. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I tell them that too. Like, and Heather said something the other day at a staff meeting that I feel like you emulate a lot. And she was telling a story about a student that she said she used to work with that was kind of like going through whatever they were going through and almost came off ungrateful. And what Heather kind of emphasized was like she realized was she was doing the work because it was the work and not for the gratification and the thank you.
Yeah.
And she was basically saying like that was a humbling thing, like just kind of having to reset and remember like, why am I doing this?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said, when I see you, and that's something that you always talk about, is like, man, we got to be constant so that way when we get to the point of like we're trying to make a turn, they're willing to turn with us. You know what I mean?
And for me, a lot of the youth development work that we do correlates so strongly with the outreach work that I do for the unsheltered, just because it's us putting ourselves out there and having these different communities not have trust, and we have to earn it. And they've been told by several people. It could be from the youth having mentors or parents. With the unsheltered, also having family members or different career paths where they've been told a different story and things just changed, so they had to accommodate and especially when it comes to, for example, the unsheltered. I think it's about us knowing that a lot of them are tired, a lot of them are have this desperate feeling, and our job is just to be able to provide them that peace and that joy just for that moment. And I think having those check-ins, the biggest thing that we are able to provide the youth and the unsheltered is hope. And that's something that I try to do with Chase Love is, and it's one of the biggest, lessons that I've tried to be able to connect with is, they might be homeless, but they're not hopeless. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we try to do for the unsheltered community is that, as long as we're able to give them that faith of there's going to be a better tomorrow, that's the best thing that we could do for the youth and for the community, and I think, to that point, that's one of the values that I love about Live in Peace is that we change the rhetoric of not rest in peace, but how can we be present? How can we live in peace? How can we honor not only ourselves, but the people that
for sure.
that have grounded us and that have set that foundation for us, and how can we we do that for our family, and what can we do to learn from the experiences that we've had? That's something that's very big from the unsheltered and the youth again is, something that I learned from my parents is like, learn from the good and learn from the bad as well. So that's something that we can, that's very important for us as people is that, I'm super blessed, and I take that, I don't take that lightly at all, is that I'm aware that I've had like amazing parents that were there and they were loving, and being able to understand that a lot of these kids haven't had that opportunity. It makes sense why they have such a lack of trust or such a feeling where they don't know what it means to have someone genuinely be there for you, because sometimes there is circumstances where the people that are supposed to unconditionally love you, because of their own flaws and their own life experiences, they're not capable of being able to showcase that. So the fact that us as mentors, we get to whatever life experiences we've had ourselves, we get to change that narrative for the kids and be able to be like, wow, like there's something different about them that these other teachers or these other mentors are giving to us that's very different. Like I appreciate that, and that's something that when we go do homeless outreach, I try to tell people, don't go out saying we're part of this organization, and don't go out saying like we're we're Chase Love or we're this faith organization or nothing. Like, we're just a group of people that are grateful for what He's done in our lives, and we want just to be able to reciprocate
Grateful
that.
to be able to give back.
Be able to give that back, and without us even asking, it's the community themselves that are asking, like, hey, can you pray for me? Or, hey, can I talk to you about this vulnerable thing that happened? And they seek for that advice. And that's where I get to, like, say, like, at that point, they don't see us, but they see God's love and His reflection through us. Exactly.
They see hope.
Through us, and then that's where we're able to have those vulnerable conversations. So I think that's what makes this work so beautiful, and it's just I'm honored to be able to be that safe space for a lot of the youth, and for us as leads. Sometimes again, like, we get so involved in the work that we're doing that we forget, like, our job is just to provide that peace of love to the kids. So we have to go through the crazy scheduling and planning and all that work, but at the end of the day, when kids show up, is that smile that we get to provide to them, that, like, hey, how are you, I missed you. Like, some of these kids haven't been told I missed you, I love you, or I'm proud of you in a long time. You know what I mean? So the fact that we get to provide that to the kids, to me, is just like the most beautiful, like, and rewarding part about the work that we do.
I wanted to add to that, and it's kind of almost on a different turn, but as you were speaking, especially about, like, the stuff that we do, and not necessarily me and you, but just organizations like our own, it made me want to say to the listener, especially if it's a student, have compassion for your people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes our parents don't know how to love us because they weren't loved, or not even necessarily love. That's a little extreme. But there's certain things that our parents didn't learn that we may feel like is common amongst our neighbors or in our friends' houses. You know what I mean? And it's like, we're a little bitter about that. But I'm saying, like, if we were to choose compassion, it's almost like, bringing yourself peace. You know what I mean? Because, and I'm saying that because I've had to look in the mirror with my own family and just like, damn, like, maybe, my dad was like that because of that happened. You know what I mean? So it's like, looking at the other side of it. And one thing I want to say to the audience is, like, add to your village. Add to your village, no matter the age. There are certain things that maybe I feel good about, or I have confidence in the knowledge, but I still want to call certain people for reassurance or whatever, you know what I mean? Or just, like, make sure I'm getting a balance and a neutral opinion on what I'm doing, you know what I mean? So sometimes, as a student, you don't always want to talk to your parents or your brothers or whatever. Like, reach out to who your circle is, man, but just make sure you reach out. And also I want to add to what you're saying about, being able to provide that love and peace for them. Don't underestimate what a smile can do. Don't underestimate what a smile can do for your friend, for your neighbor, for the person walking by you. You know what I mean? And it don't cost you nothing. But yeah, I feel like after staff last week, I was just kind of like feeling good, and I've been feeling good. And it's exciting to say out loud that, like, we can be better.
Yeah.
Like, I can be better at my job. You know what I mean? I can be better at loving people. Because that's what I feel like our job is. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. I'm always looking to learn. I'm watching you. I'm watching, on ways on, how I can do stuff and improve. So I'm happy for our kids. And like I say, I'm definitely happy to have you, because it's just been like, it's been crazy, bro. I've been like, man, this dude is different. I swear you remind me of Gene so much.
Yeah.
And like I say, like, I feel like you guys don't have to try with this. And yeah, I'm just grateful that, our kids are going to have additional members to their village. You know what I mean? And one thing I've been kind of saying to you lately, like, man, because I trust you so much, I've been saying to you, like, man, let's not apologize for having expectations for them. You know what I mean? Because we see that they could do it.
Yeah.
We know that they're capable. You know what I mean?
And we see it with the youth, because, like, a lot of the kids, like, I hear it all the time where, it's like they contradict themselves, and that's how we got to, like, and we played chess with it in that way, where a lot of these kids were like, well, I'm doing the things I'm doing because, some kids, it's because my parents aren't there, or there's no,
Deflected.
but in reality, what they're saying is, I need someone to check me. I need someone to care for me in that way. And sometimes, like, having parents that are absent, or parents that are
overly working,
sometimes it's not their fault, but what they need is someone who's going to be there and be like, hey, show up to school, get your grades up, don't be messing around. Like, who are these friends that are around you? Are they, are good?
Even if they don't look like they're enjoying it, they are.
Because afterwards they're like, oh damn, he cares. And then, so they look forward to getting in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it's true for sure.
But I think that's what a lot of us need. Is that person that it's holding us accountable. That's gonna be, but they get to really, again, it all starts with the relationship, because once we start holding them accountable, they know that we're doing it because we genuinely love for them and we genuinely care for them and we want to see them to be successful. And I think that's what makes me feel like, all right, like, I'm gonna do what he says because he wants the best for me. So yeah, like, and we're never judging them either. We're always giving them advice, but it's also like, what do you think your success is too? Because I think that's also the great thing about this work, is that it's not just like a one-way path for the kids, but we get to genuinely get to know them and be like, all right, what makes your life successful? Because it's not just having money, because a lot of these people have money but are super unhappy with their life.
Suicide, all kind of stuff. It's all kind of stuff happening.
But it's about like, what's a career that's gonna make you, to your point, like, want to wake up? What's gonna like make you want to connect and continue to build and continue to learn? And I think that's what makes this work so cool, is that it's not just like you got to go to college, but we want to empower you to also know that that's a possibility and make you change your reality, because again, because of the life experiences that we had, sometimes our parents don't have the capacity to be able to talk to us about college. Or to us, to a lot of the youth, it's like, oh, it's not part of my trajectory, it's not part of my life. But it's just because like you just haven't been introduced to that yet. And I think that's the great thing about us being able to tap in at that age, is that the biggest thing that these kids could do right now is just explore. Explore within themselves, explore the world. You
don't know what you're good at yet.
And to them, it's just like, oh, like, life's boring.
You don't know what you like. You don't know what you're passionate about.
And to them, it's just like, well, and we always joke about it. Like, it's about, like, as simple as when we ask the kids, what do you want to eat? And they're like, well, I don't know. But once we start giving them these options, they're like, oh, I've never tried this. I've never tried that. I've never tried this. So it's about us introducing those things to them. And also, so that's something that I've learned with the youth, is that, like, the world is so small. And it's because they've also only experienced so little. And the fact that us just, like, we joke about it, but, like, us taking them to the city and just being able to just walk around and just meet people and see people, to them it's just, bro, like, they're always around the same, like, group of friends and the same influences and the same culture, that it's like, it's hard for them. And that's the one thing, again, because of my life experience, I was able to kind of learn, is that it should, but it shouldn't, in a way. Your surroundings mold who you are, but it should mold the principles of who you are, but not your identity. Because I remember, I was around kids that were always just like, yeah, like, like, I was raised in Patterson, a small valley town, and that's all I knew, And then when my parents lost their house in the 2008 crash, my mom, my sister, and I had to go to Mexico, and that was a huge cultural shift for me. But then that really made me realize, like, man, it's all these kids trying to act hard, trying to, like, gangbang, like, that one block that they know, but because they haven't experienced anything else. Whereas, like, I would always joke about it, like, you could get evicted, and what you gonna start gangbanging, like?
Yeah, what you gonna claim now?
Yeah, like, there's nothing for you to, represent. And that's when I realized, like, oh wow, like, your identity is a lot more than where you're from, but it is, strongly shaped by what's around you. So in that way, you need to really assess what's around you and be able to see, what can I do to not only, like, learn from my community, but uplift from it.
I'm sorry, I gotta put a finger up. This is like when you drop a jewel, you put a finger up. That was one of the boys. For sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's something that I learned, is that, like, all right, cool, like, because I remember I would see kids, and the way, like, their accent was completely different, like, the language different, the school was different. I had to learn how to fit in, but at the same time, it was that weird balance of I need to fit in, but at the same time I'm different, so I also have to be who they are, because I'm never going to do it because like I'm not from here, but then two, like I have my own story, I have my own like experiences, so let me figure out who I am. So then that's why I started to like really embody, the culture that I have, being from Patterson, from the Bay, but at the same time like a lot of the culture that I have from being from Campeche and being from Michoacan. But that also made me, curious, like to that point again about like, let me explore different cultures. Let me understand different music. Let me understand, like, learn different languages. And that was something that was fascinating for me. So I started to like really be passionate about like Brazilian music, Afro beats, and just different, just the different way that people lived. And that's when, again, like when it went to going to helping the unsheltered, for me, one of my biggest things is like, let me get to know you as a person and let me learn your story, because everyone's different. Even if we all come from the same background, we can also be having like a different story just based off, how you were raised. So I think that's one of the beautiful things, is that once I came back to start to live here in Redwood City, I started to really be able to connect with different people and being able to understand, like, all right, like, at the same time, like, yeah, like, there was this wrong narrative towards the unsheltered, which is, they're druggies, they don't care, they're lazy, and there's all these negative things. But in my head, I was like, yo, like, my parents lost their house, and it wasn't because of none of those things. So who am I to judge the person that's next to me? And then I realized, like, a lot of them had like these crazy backstories that allowed me to be, grateful for what I have. And I was a kid when I started to do a lot of this outreach. So for me, it was big about, I learned a lot of my life lessons from the unsheltered community. And I would then try to push back against my people at my church, because to them there was so much entitlement. And that's when I realized, like, man, it's crazy that I could be with this person that's unsheltered and they have, this one plate of food and they'll share it with me. Yeah, I could be with someone at church and they'll be like, nah, this is mine because God gave it to me. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, how dare you, So I started to like see those different things, and at the same time, like, how can I like bring people to a genuine relationship with God, not just the church, because to a lot of the people, church was something that hurt them. So how can I just be able to bring what our true calling
to the relationship,
the true calling of what God is, which is to
the scenery or the setting.
Exactly, because it's all like these different norms and expectations, but at the end of the day, as long as we're able to share that love with the community, that's what God ultimately wants for us to do. Like you said, like, sometimes that smile and that how are you, but not like, hey, how's your day, but like, how are you as a person?
For sure.
That could impact someone so deeply, because life is so busy and moving so fast that sometimes they don't have
time to think about it. For sure. Sometimes you see real cheesy movies, but like somebody asks somebody a question, and then the question makes that person cry and fall out. You know what I mean? Because it's like, damn, like, you're making me tap into emotions or something I haven't thought about in a long time. And this is kind of like a different subject, but I've been telling you, and really the whole staff, I've been kind of like worried lately with some of our kids that are like, I feel like are super smart, but already saying like, man, dude, I'm going to go get a job. Like, damn, man, like, this dude can go to college, you know what I mean? This dude can go far, but it's like they're already trying to survive, you know what I mean? So I don't know, it's crazy, man, trying to find all the, like, not necessarily outlets, but it's like, how many ways can we help? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I say I'm proud of this place and working here, because we outsource. You know what I mean? We aren't a big me, little you kind of place. So I love being able to introduce people that can help people. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like that is a skill and a blessing opportunity for us right now too. So perspective is everything, man. Perspective is everything. I was telling you, or we was talking about it in the staff, like, I'm trying to get rid of expectations. So that way it's just like, I'm just doing it because this is what moves me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, whatever comes from that is what comes from it.
Yeah, because in a way you limit yourself by doing that. And again, like, like bringing it back to like the gospel, like, if you have your expectations of what God has planned in your life, by you just saying like, hey, this is where I'm gonna this is what my plan is.
This is what I consider measurable success.
You're not allowing God to move through you, and sometimes like our vision is so small compared to what God could do through us. But because we live in this fear, and that's something that a lot of the kids experience, and they live in this fear where, you know, they see what their parents are going through, and they see what their friends are doing, and they feel like, all right, like that's the life I'm meant to have. And again, it's going back to having the kids explore the possibilities that are there for them. Is they just need to at least give themselves that moment of freedom to at least try, put themselves out there, work hard into something that you love, because people work hard for stuff that they don't. So why not try and give it your all right now to the things that make life worthwhile for you, and just don't be afraid of failure, but use it as an opportunity to be able to learn. Because sometimes that failure is a way that kind of prevented you from being in a place that you're not going to be fully happy, or sometimes in that way, like that failure actually
fail at one thing to be successful in another. A lot of times, for sure.
It'll close a door for you that really wasn't meant for you, and that's also very important. Is and sometimes like that's something that I had to learn too, is that good things that seem good could happen to you that are really a distraction, and bad things could happen to you that are really life lessons. It's all depending on perspectives that you
We gotta wrap this up, man. You're not doing this on the first one. We're wrapping this up. This is Living Peace Podcast. It's DJ and Tito, man. You're not gonna do me like that on the first one. We wrapping this up. We out of here. I need a rematch, bro.